everybody. Today we're talking with Siobhan, who once worked at a zoo, hiked an ice field, and collects bottles of wine. She loves delicious leche ice cream, I can't get that out, and has been mistaken for Anne Hathaway. Her nickname is Bono Girl. She has performed as a stand-up comic and wishes she was from Buenos Aires. Today she's going to share with us about her trip to India. So welcome, Siobhan.
Thank you so much, Cindy and April. Pleasure to be here.
Thanks, Siobhan. So, welcome, and we're going to start our famous 7-minute
Yes.
timer. So, tell us what drew you to India. Tell us about India.
Sure, absolutely. Well, I have been very fortuitous in that my career actually involves travel and tourism.
Oh,
And my trip to India was actually one originally that commenced with a work trip. And I went to Goa in India, and that was my first trip to the area and to see the country. I must confess, it probably took about 4 trips to India before I got my head around all the dimensions, and it's a very colorful and unique society, and just understanding the way of working with the people and being with the people. And it turned into one of my most favorite destinations in the world. And then from there, I started taking personal time and traveling. And I was really fortunate in that I was able to experience what's known as the Golden Triangle, which includes Jaipur, Agra, and Delhi. And I've had amazing experiences in the country.
That sounds great. So how many times have you been there?
I've been to India about 11 times.
mm,
Wow. Okay.
And yeah, and my geographic home base is Vancouver.
Okay.
So for who's traveled India, it's a long journey depending on where you're traveling from. But I also was at the time working in South Korea. So I would fly usually from Vancouver to London, London to India, and then sometimes tag on South Korea at the end. So pretty much, if you look at it on a map, you've gone around the world like 1.5 times. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if we can count plane time in all of this, but I think I lost a few years off my life.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I think it's go
But
back the other way.
yeah, there's it.
So tell us something that surprises you about India.
I think what I was surprised the most about was it's a very contrasting culture. Obviously, there's a lot of disparity in the classes of people, from the very wealthy to the impoverished. But I really found as a nation, they're very patriotic and very humble, and they look after their people in the sense that they're very proud, and they're very, very proud to have visitors.
oh,
And they welcome you in their homes, and they're very warm and hospitable and super, super curious. And some of the experiences, just by way of example, was I arrived one time on a trip, and it was the height of cricket season, which is they're a huge sport, as I'm sure you know. And the championships were on, and some of the ladies that I knew and would hang out with, and we did some work together as well. They took me to a local like sports bar just to keep me awake after this long journey, ensure that when I did go to bed, I'd sleep all night and be fresh the next day. And a gentleman was there, and he was a reporter, and he asked to take our photos. And I think a little bit because of my coloring, and I'm have long hair. He took my photo, and he put. The next day, I arrived at our office, and the office was full of roses. I mean, like full. It's like something you saw like in a Pretty Woman movie or something, where it's just here. And my team pulled out the Times of India, and there's only one newspaper in India that goes to the entire country. And as you know, there's a billion people in India, and it's the Times of India. And page 6 is like their Bollywood celebrity page. And here I am. Here's my picture. I look like I looked like someone who just got off a plane. I think I had a little clip in my hair like this, and it just had my name. And so it turned out this man worked for the Times of India. So all to say, I ended up having to close my Facebook account because people thought I was some new Bollywood.
um,
And my Facebook account literally had thousands of messages. And this is probably, I'm not just trying to think how many years ago it was, but when Facebook was really starting to take off in India, it was like the thing. Anyway, it's just kind of funny. But my point with that is like my friends there and the people I knew just all found this exceptionally like hilarious for one thing. And so I still have the newspaper at home. I kept a copy. They have one like framed in their office somewhere, and it's just hilarious because it's just this like little square photo of my head. And I mean, but I think the other thing that surprised me was that I mean it's a very big country, and the history there. You know, having gone to Agra and experienced something iconic like seeing the Taj Mahal, which I'm not sure if you know the history very well, but it is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It was built in the 16th century by the Shah Jahan for his wife as a mausoleum who he adored, and she died during childbirth and had always said to him that, you know, if I die before you, I want you to build a shrine to me like no one has ever seen in the world. And he did. And it was just fascinating to go there because until I think we've all seen those infamous photos of Princess Diana, you know, sitting on the bench in front of the Taj Mahal. And, but when you go there, it truly is spellbindingly beautiful. The light, he thought of everything with the white marble and the way it reflects and the jewels and the stones. And it was just amazing to see. And it's so cherished by the Indian people. And I guess that's what I'm saying as far as it's not just a tourist attraction, it really embodies their past and the times before, you know, the Indian uprising and things like that. So it was really, really cool.
Yeah, that sounds
But
like
all
a
the areas are different.
beautiful.
Like, yeah, the areas are so different, and it can be a bit of a shock because you may be somewhere, um, you know, in the confines of a hotel, and then you're out in the street, and you're literally, you know, surrounded by people riding elephants, and you know, there's, you know, a lot of poverty,
Right.
and but yet the colors are insane, and I think for a tourism destination, they've done an incredible job by just positioning themselves incredible India because when you get there, it's just off the charts, like beautiful color, and they've really just embodied that and everything in their festivals, and yeah, it's really really nice.
Wow. You've
Yeah.
told me so many places I want to point my camera at, but because I love to take photos too. Are there some other places you would recommend for scenic or
Yeah,
other beautiful places that really are good places to go?
yeah, like in India itself, I would definitely recommend Jaipur. It's known as it's famous for their what's called the pink palaces. Um, so in other parts of the country, like Agra, a lot of buildings like the Agra Fort, it's known as the Red Fort. It's made with a red sandstone,
Oh,
whereas in Jaipur, everything has a pink, almost like your hair.
Oh yeah,
So you would very nicely.
right there you
I don't know if
go.
people can see you. So no, it's everything is this. It's infamous for being this pink glow.
Wow.
And the one thing that's really beautiful there is there's the palace, and there is still a royal family there, and the prince, who I think he is now actually king. He's a complete like heartthrob sensation. Like I think he's all of maybe 27 or 31,
Oh
and
my.
he's taken over for the family. And while he doesn't have official royal duties, he's still considered royalty. At least as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have any royal duties. But and so I was very fortunate that I was able to go through the palace. There's certain rooms that aren't public. Uh, and see they're changing what we would consider almost like the changing of the guard with the horses, the beautiful white horses and the flags and the men in their guard outfits and so on and so forth. But the other thing that's really popular in India is the use of light shows. And if you've traveled to China, it's kind of a big thing in China too, with the music and fireworks and these light shows. But in India, and especially in Jaipur, what they'll do is these huge outdoor projections. And in this case, they'll do it on the fortress or on the palace because there's these beautiful, huge, usually there's a moat. And so they have
Right.
these huge walls protecting some of these buildings, and they do these phenomenal shows. But the shows are usually historical, so it'll be like figurines of like, you know, an army marching, and then like horses and elephants, and all set to music. And it usually tells the history of either the building or whatever the festival may be or the holiday, and they're really profound. So that was really cool in Jaipur. I really like Jaipur, and there's a
Wow.
floating garden. Um, that's been built, and yeah, it's a beautiful place. And then the food by region is very diverse. So in Goa itself, It's the beach destination. It's on the Indian Ocean, so you get a lot more seafood, sorry. And it's actually very Portuguese. So the Portuguese colonized it, and you still see that in the architecture, the food, the accent of the people. And it is a hugely popular destination for Indians themselves coming from Delhi and Mumbai to go and just relax. And then the style of food, there's of course, there's a lot of vegetarian food in India, but the style of the food there, like samosas and things like that, is quite different. Whereas in Jaipur, like the chicken work is just crazy, like cooked in the tandoori ovens, and so yeah, it's a very diverse, interesting place.
Yeah, I hate to cut
And I
you off.
love that.
I think I heard the 7 minutes.
The timer went off.
No,
It just
it's so
flew by.
fascinating. I can tell, Siobhan, from your love of the country and for its people and your experiences, it just comes through. So I'm enjoying your conversation. So, but I want to thank you for sharing your story with everyone today. Please check out in our information. You can get Siobhan's contact information if you want to reach out if you have further questions. She's an excellent resource, as our other guests. Cindy and I have started a new question and answer series as well, so please drop your questions in the link in the description below and travel with us through real stories from real people. Thank you so much, Siobhan.
Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste.